Hello students, myself Mridul Mishra, Head, Department of Social Work, Patna Women's College, Autonomous. Today I am going to discuss the qualitative versus quantitative research. As we all know, research is the systematic and scientific search for various information about a specific topic. Thus, we say that it is the systematized effort to gain and discover new knowledge. Now, let's see what this qualitative research actually means. Qualitative research explores subjective experiences, feelings and opinions through interviews, observations and focus groups. The different data collection methods includes open-ended interviews, observations and focus groups, among others. Researchers need to interpret collected data to identify common themes and patterns. When we look towards the benefits of qualitative research, we would say that it provides rich in-depth data and insights into research subjects and allows for flexibility in study design and can generate new hypotheses. On the other hand, quantitative research uses numeric data to test hypotheses and examine relationships through statistical analysis. And the methods of data collection includes surveys, experiments and tests, among others, often using a large sample size to enable generalization of findings to a broader population. When we look towards the benefit of quantitative research, it shows precise data analysis, test specific hypotheses and can generalize findings to a broader population, making outcomes more reliable. Further, I would like to mention that when actually we can use the qualitative or quantitative research. We use qualitative research when exploring new research areas, testing new products, assessing satisfaction, or when studying a small sample size where it is essential to get in-depth insights. We use quantitative research when researching large populations, evaluating known concept, or when it is necessary to measure quantity or improve the existing data. Now, there are some common misconceptions about the qualitative research, that it is subjective and lacks rigor. I would like to mention that qualitative research is not purely subjective and can be designed to enhance rigor and validate findings. It can generate theories and test hypotheses. On the other hand, there is a misconception about quantitative research that it is always reliable and objective. But it should be noted that it is often inherently biased and may have limited relevance as it relies on restrictive data collection methods and its objectives may not document the complexity of certain problems. Looking towards the pros and cons and the best practices of qualitative and quantitative research. They provide a more comprehensive understanding of research subjects, strengthens the validity through triangulation. On the other hand, it can be costly, time-consuming and labor-intensive. It may require specialized knowledge or collaboration with other researchers to ensure successful integration of data. The best practices are that we can develop a research plan with clear objectives, we can use a team of experienced researchers, we can employ rigorous data analysis, and we can also integrate the results thoughtfully. To make it more clear, further we would proceed with highlighting the differences between the qualitative and quantitative research. Qualitative research refers to any characteristics, attributes, events which can't be measured on any numerical scale and it cannot be quantified. On the other hand, quantitative research refers to any characteristics, attributes, events which can be measured on any numerical scale and it can be counted or categorized. The qualitative data is not transformed into a nominal measurement scale and it has a low degree of control over the context and the subject. Whereas in quantitative research, nominal data used for qualitative characteristics can be used in quantitative research. Thus, the quantitative paradigm is dominant over the qualitative one in many disciplines. Thus, we see that the qualitative data is typically the descriptive data, whereas the quantitative research gathers data in numerical form which can be put into the categories or measured in the units of measurements. Quantitative data can be used to construct graphs and tables, and when we think of qualitative data, we think of the word quality because in qualitative analysis we are taking deep quality look at a phenomena. Now I would like to give some examples of the quantitative and qualitative research. Like we can see that quantitative research refers to various types of application forms, close-ended questionnaires, IQ tests, and various types of measurements. On the other hand, examples of qualitative research can be diary accounts, document reviews, open-ended questionnaires, then unstructured interviews, unstructured observations. The type of data collected in the quantitative research is numbers and statistics, etc. And in qualitative research, we can say words, images, or objects, etc. Now talking about the forms of qualitative data can be open-ended responses, interviews, participant observations, field notes, and reflections. On the other hand, quantitative data are based on precise measurements using structured and validated data collections instruments. Thus, the results of the quantitative results shows a particular or specialized findings, that it is less generalizable, whereas results of the qualitative results shows that generalizable findings that can be applied to other populations. Talking about the approach of qualitative research is inductive and of quantitative research is deductive. The type of questions to be asked in the qualitative research can be why or in what context, while in quantitative research it can be what or how much. The purpose and focus qualitative research is to generate hypothesis, in-depth understanding and interpret. On the other hand, the purpose of quantitative research is the test of hypothesis, describe, explain and to predict. Proceeding further, in qualitative research, the research design may be longitudinal or multi-method design, emerging during study, whereas in quantitative research, it may be cross-sectional or longitudinal. Single method design is explicit and clear in advance. The sample design in qualitative research may be non-probability or purposive, while in the quantitative research probabilistic sampling mainly it is purposive also. Talking about the sample size of qualitative research may be small. It may depend upon the level of saturation. The sample size of quantitative research may be large. It depends upon the various factors. The data type in the qualitative research may be verbal or pictorial description, reduced to the verbal codes, while in quantitative verbal descriptions are reduced to the numerical codes for the computerized analysis. The analysis in case of qualitative research is non-quantitative, that it is flexible evolving, emphasis on themes insights are developed as the research progresses, shortening data analysis. In case of the quantitative research, we see statistical analysis using the rigid test of pre-established relationships of identified variables and emphasizing on counts. When we look towards feedback turnaround, we find that in qualitative research, smaller sample sizes make data collection faster for shorter possible turnaround. In quantitative research, larger sample sizes lengthen the data collection. Now, summarizing the whole thing, I would like to mention few points to consider before conducting the research. The first and the foremost point we should consider is to define the problem statement and our research objective, like what are the questions that you want to answer and what outcome do you want from your research. Another important thing to be focused is to allocate the budget, that is to plan for the resources required for the data collection, for the interpretation and analysis of data. It helps in determining the scope and feasibility of the research, and the most important is to consider the ethical issues and social implications of the research, that is, review the ethical practices and ensure a diverse range of participants and researchers and consider the social implication of the research. Coming towards the end, I would like to put it all together and to conduct research in the process of defining objectives. We define the problem, statement and research objectives and also determine the data collection methods and strategies. Next, in order to execute the research, we collect data using qualitative and quantitative methods. We triangulate the results across data sources for added validity. And at last, and very important, when we analyze the results, we organize the data and create appropriate charts, infographics and tables, and draw conclusions and evaluate research objectives based on the data analysis. That's all for this class. Thank you.